Good morning, beautiful people. It is Monday, December 9th, 2019, and we're in a gloomy, doomy, rainy New York City. Got hit in the face with some moisture while walking the streets this morning from Get Up to 4 World Trade to sit next to my engaged friend Ty Schmidt from Waterloo, Iowa, who's a Packers owner. We will talk about that. We will overreact for everything else. Are the Patriots done? Is the dynasty over? Oh my God. Alberto Riveron gang ruined a lot of games yesterday. Brian Flores, B-Flow, the head coach of the Dolphins, almost fought a ref after the game after it was handed down after a phantom pass interference. Hands the New York Jets a win yesterday. Ducky Hodges still undefeated. No big deal. Quack, 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 quack. And we'll talk about everything else that needs to be talked about. The Niners win a massively important game down in the Bayou at the Superdome. Can't wait to chat about it all. Levar Arrington joins us at 1040, 1-833-622-3331. You should join us as well for what you're thinking, your thoughts, your questions, your actions. Lizzo went bare ass at a Lakers game last night. Rikishi's trending. It's going to be a good day. Evan Foxy, please play some Chase Rice.
It's the perfect occasion for a middle vacation from the heart of the nation. Out of your medication, 2 hours of magic. Let's give it a go. Ladies and gents, it's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show.
Yes, it is, Chase Rice. I appreciate you, pal, for singing that for free for us a long time ago. He's on tour. If he's in your city, go check him out. He's handsome, and he sings good songs. Back in the production area, we got Zito and Evan Foxy out here amongst the rain, and myself and Ty Schmidt and all the beautiful people here at SNY. Adam Vinatieri, breaking news, has been moved to injured reserve with a nagging knee injury that will require knee surgery. A lot of people are hinting that this is the end of the road for the old man, and if it is, I think it's time to go ahead and take a trip down memory lane. This man came out of South Dakota State, was a jackrabbit. Nobody wanted him. Went over to Virginia, trained a little bit, got sent overseas to the NFL Europe World League, whatever the hell it was. Kicked for the Amsterdam Admirals, came back, took a job from a bar at New England Patriots under Parcells. He went on to become the all-time leading scorer at the time for the Patriots, scored 1,000 points with them, won a couple Super Bowls, had some of the biggest moments in NFL history as a Patriot. Then, as a free agent, he joins the Indianapolis Colts, wins a Super Bowl that year. The man just collected Super Bowl rings throughout his 20-plus year career. At some point, his body was going to catch up with him. This offseason, going into training camp, his knee was hurting. He took some time off. Then he came in, had a little bit of a shaky year, made some kicks, missed some kicks, made some kicks, missed some kicks. Everybody was on him. You're too old. You're too this. You're too that. All he did was keep showing up to work and kicking the ball. A lot of rumors were spread that he was going to retire mid-season. Adam Vinatieri, one of the most competitive humans of all time, there was no way he was just going to quit after having a couple bad games. He said, what type of message would that send to my kids if I just quit whenever there was one little glimpse of negativity? Because for a long time here, Vinny has been immortal. This man who has played a position that is pressure-packed. This man who has played a position that requires a lot of explosion. To make it into your 40s is something that's impressive that not a lot have done. He made the NFL all-time team. Congratulations to him. He deserves it. He stepped up in big situations. And now, going on IR, a lot of people are talking about it being the end of the road. And if that's the case, Mr. Adam Vinatieri, it was an honor to hold your balls, my friend. It was an absolute honor. And if he decides to come back, which I am not ruling out, by the way, just so everybody understands, Adam Vinatieri is the most competitive human being I have ever met in my entire life. If you're playing a game of chess with him, and I don't know the rules of chess, but let's say you're like close to winning or whatever, you're like, as soon as you get the word check before made out, he'll flip the board and say, I didn't see it. I didn't see it happen. If you're to play checkers and something was going on, he is the most competitive human I've ever been around. That's why he works out so hard. That's why he still trains so hard. That's why he's still in the NFL. I'm not sure what he's going to do. I think he's going to be conflicted. I have not talked to him because I do have a very large mouth with no filter and a lot of microphones, so I don't want him to give me any information because I don't want to be the one that releases it. Although I think I should have been the one that broke that he was going on IR. Mm-hmm. I think I've done a lot for the Colts.
Yeah.
Them not telling me directly,
Interesting.
Will I turn on him?
We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see how I feel after the show. It's just happening now. I'm not happy I didn't get told this before anything else. I think this weekend with Chase McLaughlin was potentially a moment where they're like, hey, let's see if we can find a guy that's almost halfway worth a damn. Chase McLaughlin proved that. He missed a kick late, by the way. Missed a kick late. That is not good news. But he hit a 50-yarder, did some other things, looked like he hits a good ball. I don't think he's anywhere near the same guy as Adam Vinatieri is, but there's nobody like Adam Vinatieri. That's why he's the greatest of all time. Going on IR. Hopefully he gets that knee healthy. We'll be excited to see what he does in the future. But if this is it, it was an honor to watch him kick balls. It was an honor to hold your balls, my friend. And I hope you have nothing but a beautiful life ahead of you with that gorgeous family of yours. And if he comes back, hey, man, I hope you break more records. I don't know how many more there are to break, but I hope you do.
In a situation like that, does he know probably like the whole year, like, hey, I need surgery, and it's more a testament to his competitiveness that like the trainers are like, hey, you're kind of hurting yourself. We need to shelve you.
Yeah, I think so. And I would assume if he was younger, this is something that they all would agree, like, hey, we're going to get surgery after the season. Mm-hmm. But now, as you're older, this is just what happens. Now, in the grand scheme of life, is he an old man? No. But in football, he is an old man.
Right.
I mean, the old man. Old. Just an old-ass man in the game of football. So your body doesn't recover as fast. These are just things that happen. So the nagging injury, I would assume, could have affected a lot of things this year. That wasn't talked about. You never heard him make any excuses, by the way, which good on him for doing that.
Yep.
I would assume that he's going to get surgery that if he was a little bit younger, maybe it would have been at the end of the season. But, yeah, this is something that obviously he had to do a lot of rehab for. This is something that really affected him, I would assume. And he did not have his best year. I'll be excited to see what he does. I don't want to find out because I won't be able to hold back. Because you're talking about one of the greatest football players of all time. In a sport that revolves around scoring, if you score the most points, how's it going? Best of all time.
Tough to argue.
Anyways, moving forward, speaking of greatest of all time, boy, these Patriots. Hey. I dread the day that it's going to happen, too. I hammered the Chiefs' money line last night. Hammered it. Because I was getting good odds. And also because it felt like the Chiefs had too many weapons. Mm-hmm. The defense had been carrying that Patriots team. We've all seen it. This is nothing crazy that I'm saying right now. The special teams have been doing incredible. Again, they got a block kick, but they blocked one themselves as well. And last night was very much more of the same. I think the defense played well against that Chiefs team. A lot of people are talking about, the Chiefs or the Patriots defense is going down. It's like, that Chiefs offense, whenever it's humming, when you got Travis Kelce going and Tyreek Hill getting in the mix, I mean, that LaShawn McCoy getting the ball, Patrick Mahomes, obviously, it feels like his knee's better. When that offense is going, it's hard to stop by anybody. You just have to put up points with them. You have to keep up with them. Especially if you get a couple turnovers and things like that, which aren't normal. Travis Kelce loses the ball. The refs blow it for them. N'Keal Harry definitely inbounds. The refs blow it for him. Pass interference inside the 10. The refs blow it for him. I mean, that game was one that the Patriots, if Alberto Riveron gang gets it anywhere near accurate, the Patriots probably win that game.
Yeah.
And we're sitting here today saying, Bill Belichick, somehow, someway, is winning with one of the most inept offenses we've ever seen. Not only in Patriots history, it's obviously that, but in winning football history. I don't think I've ever seen a team that is 10-3 look so bad in the phase of the game that revolves around the scoring part of everything, which is the offense. They look bad. They get rid of Demaryius Thomas twice. They cut him, then trade him away for a 7th-round pick. They get rid of Josh Gordon. They put him on IR. They choose to put him on IR to get him out of the building. They don't even cut him. Put him on IR. He's not making plays for Seahawks last night. Not as many that we thought he would have, but he's still making some plays. They get rid of Antonio Brown. Obviously, terrible allegations come out. Antonio Brown kind of called it upon us. They get rid of all these people, and you go, you know what? Bill Belichick will figure it out. That's what Bill Belichick does. That offense, though, without the trick plays, there's no movement.
Exactly.
Marcus Spears this morning, old Swagoo, who I'm a big fan of, he said in the production meeting, he said, it's hard for the Patriots to get a yard right now. He said it's hard to get a yard, let alone points. The run game isn't really popping off, and whenever he's thrown, that Jacoby Myers guy, he cannot catch a football. That is a tough thing to do whenever you're a wide receiver. Now, granted, that might change. It maybe just has a little bit of the jitters. N'Keal Harry is turning to be a good player for them. But aside from Julian Edelman, there's really nothing. There's nothing happening for them. Couple trick plays, you get it moving. But in the offensive side of the ball, they have not done jack diddly squat. And this is the time of year where, even to Bill Belichick's mind, this is when they're supposed to be playing real football. Mm-hmm. After Thanksgiving, that's when real football. Mm-hmm. Kyle Van Noy told us that. Mm-hmm. We're 2 weeks past Thanksgiving now. And that offense is nowhere near looking like it's one that could do damage in the playoffs. But even with all of that, they still could have won that game. Just like last week against the Texans, who ran into a buzzsaw on Drew Lock this week. Even against the Texans, there's still a one-score game, and they were completely inept on the offensive side of the ball. And there's going to come a time where I'm going to have to publicly say, Patriots are done. Patriots dynasty's over. But that day is not today, strictly because I think the overall score against teams that I was on against this Patriots team is like 700-10 maybe. We've lost a lot of games. They used to hang 50 on us, 45 on us. Those days seem to be long gone, though. If they can't figure out that offensive side of the ball, even with how great the defense is and how great the special teams have been, it's going to be tough to win in the playoffs whenever you're playing against teams that can move the rock and score. And I think Baltimore is only proving that they can win in any fashion that you need them to win. It's going to be tough for the Patriots to get going, even though they're 10-3 and still should have won that game if it wasn't for, hey, Booger's a bad ref. That guy is bad. I'm surprised he didn't get promoted to Alberto Riveron's position, to be honest with you, the way things work. I mean, it was just, they could have won that game. And they're terrible right now on offense.
And I think Marcus Spears made a good point this morning, too. He said it doesn't matter how good your defense is if they're on the field for like 70 plays a game. Like over the course of a season, that's going to wear you down. And if your offense can't sustain drives at all, like at what point do you have to kind of like take some of that onus on yourself? It's like we can't rely on the defense to win every single game in the playoffs.
You can't.
It's not going to happen.
Now, any given Sunday, the inch in front of your face and the inch behind you is all that matters, blah, 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 all that stuff. The guy that played Jimmy Hoffa said that. Mm-hmm. But is that accurate?
Yeah.
That's a good movie reference there. I just don't think with that offense they're going to be able to do anything. And it's sad because, man, this dynasty has been an awesome one to watch. And I think at the end of the day, it's going to be arrogance that bites them in the butt. Get rid of Demaryius Thomas. Get rid of Josh Gordon. Don't need him. Turns out you need something. Tom Brady, a guy that I have said on numerous occasions I didn't think sweat. I didn't think he ever felt bad. I always thought he was like this guy that just hops out of the clouds with a halo on him. He's handsome, more wealthy, more athletic, more successful than I am. He seems even like distraught, I think. He seems distraught. We got to play better. I need you to be faster, quicker, more explosive. We got to play better. Even after wins in the years past, he was very calm, cool, and collected. Massive wins. They get huge wins. He'd go into that press conference just cool as the other side of the pillow. Which, by the way, I don't know how that is a quote. Cool as the other side of the pillow.
Me neither. I've never really understood it. Stuart Scott, I think, was the one.
Well, rest in peace, Stuart Scott. I love him a lot. I love Stuart Scott. But for me, I abuse pillows in bed. I mean, I flip them around, punch them.
Oh, yeah.
I think maybe I'm an aggressive sleeper because once the pillow gets flat because I have a massive head, I flip that thing around, and it's normally hot because I flipped it around 2 minutes before. So I never understood that quote. Maybe it's just me. I don't understand. But he did always seem smooth as the other side of a standard sleeper's pillow. Mm-hmm. Now, even after losses, we're on to this, we're on to that. Normally it's how Belichick said. Tom Brady, same way. Now they seem both like, yeah, man, we stink on offense. What do you want from us? We can't do anything. We're drawing up these trick plays. We ran tempo at the beginning. They didn't know. They ran tempo like a college football team at the beginning of that game last night just to spur something. Scored, then they kind of slowed down. Then they're running double passes. They're running this. They're running that. They're trying everything they possibly can to gain yards. And credit to that Chiefs defense, by the way.
Yeah.
That Chiefs defense 4 weeks ago was a laughing stock. Mm-hmm. People were going after them. Now they've really turned it around and got good. They got rid of Justin Houston still as well, who's a great pass rusher. That defense with Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, they're getting going, and they just completely stumped the Patriots last night. And I just don't know how much, or yesterday, I don't know how far they can go. And I'm not going to go out here and say that they're going to lose in the first round. I'm not going to say that.
No, why would you?
People are saying that.
A lot of people are saying that.
People are saying this dynasty's done. People are saying they're going to lose in the first round. People are saying Tom Brady's either going to retire or go somewhere else. People are saying a lot of things. I won't say it just yet, though, because this is still the Patriots we're talking about. This is still a team that if anybody else was the coach of this thing, they'd be 1-11. This is still a team that defense is elite, that special teams is impressive, and they still have Tom Brady playing quarterback. That blocked punt, I thought was going to spark them into a comeback, by the way. That blocked punt happens where Colquitt has to eat one right up the gut, which I'm sure there's people blaming Colquitt for that because there's idiots out there talking. But they just blocked it right up the gut. They had Slater block one off the edge. They got him right up the gut. I thought that was going to turn the entire team around because that is something that can happen. In years past, by the way, something like that happens, the Patriots go on and bang, bang, bang. Patriots get a pick. Normally they go on and score, bang, bang. They don't. It's just something different. It's weird, man. It's very weird. Belichick's hosting shows very well, by the way. Listen to him talk on that NFL 100 thing. You learn how big of a fan he is of the game. Him talking about Ed Reed and these players from the best. I mean, it's awesome to watch, but it just feels like this dynasty, one that has been our entire life, basically.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what city you go to outside of the Northeast. What team do you hate? The Patriots. We hate the Patriots. I assume in NBA cities back in the day it was the Bulls. I assume it was the Lakers for a long time, the Yankees. These teams that have been so good for so long, everybody hates them because people throw rocks at shiny things. Taylor Swift said that. That was back when she was country, I think. She's changed a bit. But it's real. Everybody hated the Patriots because of how long their dominance was, and it just feels like Rex Ryan has said it. Everybody said there's nobody to fear anymore. You don't fear anybody on that offense anymore. If you're a defense, you're going in and you're like, okay, here we go. We're going to feast on the greatest of all time. And it's been happening, but they've still been in games because of how good their coaching is. So you can't rule them out yet, but people are ruling them out.
Oh, yeah. Well, and like you said, years past, too, like they've basically relied on the idea that, hey, Brady's going to make everyone better. It doesn't matter who we have. And he's getting to the point in his career where, like, that's not the case anymore.
Whoa, what are you saying?
He doesn't have a clean pocket. They can't protect him. I mean, that's the biggest issue. If he can't throw from his spot, he's screwed because he can't move around at all.
I think he got to 17, 18 miles an hour, though, on that fourth down.
He might have.
He's been training in the backyard. We've seen him.
Yep.
He's on a TB12 on the bands. It all paid off on that fourth down. I thought maybe that would even get him going because he was celebrating. Belichick was celebrating, and he just couldn't do it. But playoff football.
That's right.
They're still going to be in, and I assume they're still going to do damage.
Still wouldn't want to play him in the playoffs.
Would never. But the Baltimore Ravens getting home field advantage is massive. Yeah. Not having to go to Foxborough is huge. In Baltimore, that M&T Bank, I think it is, that place is not easy to play. I said this on Get Up. When the White Striped Seven Nation Army gets going in there, those fans are relentless. They are ruthless. They are loud. In this particular year, they are very, very proud of all three phases they got going. Special teams, they got the best kicking unit in the game.
Yep.
Justin Tucker, Sam Cook, Morgan Cox, the Wolfpack, best kicking unit in the game. Plus, their coverage is great. They got good special teams coaches. That defense with Marcus Peters, they're savages. And they're chugging beers after breaking up passes. I love everything about it.
That was awesome.
And then on the offensive side of the ball, Greg Roman has a guy who can do no wrong. Bad calls are good calls with Lamar Jackson. The tight ends dropped a couple balls early, by the way, which I referred to on Get Up. If those two balls are caught early, they're up like 14 in the first quarter.
Yep.
That game's over. There's nothing you can do. A lot of people said, did you even watch the game saying they were going to blow them out? If Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens, with that defense, that offense, that special teams, gets up 2 scores early, it's over.
Right.
It is over. They're going to ground and pound you for a 6-minute drive, 7-minute drive. That Buffalo Bills team, much better than anybody gives them credit for. I agree completely. But that Ravens team could have won very convincingly if they couple early thing. And they did win convincingly. I mean, they didn't cover, which a little bit of a what's going on, guys. But I said on Get Up, give Lamar Jackson the MVP right now. Not only because he hit a 5-piece on a guy, made him fall over, tackle a ghost. Strictly because he wore the white long sleeve with the white glove to troll an old white from the Niners. The color commentator said, well, it's his skin tone makes it a lot easier to do the play action. First of all, what buffoon lets that slip out of his mouth? Like, what buffoon who is actually getting paid to commentate about football would use that as something, as an advantage? What idiot thinks that's an actual advantage?
How old is that guy?
95 years old. How does that guy have a job is the first thing. I assume if you say that, you say a lot of other dumb things in your life as well.
Yeah.
But then for Lamar to acknowledge it, troll it, dominate, and then just keep it moving without saying a word, he's my MVP.
Yeah, me too.
Hey, that's my MVP. Give it to him? Nah. Oh, we got 3 games left? Cancel them. Newsflash. You can manscape without the fear, thanks to Manscaped, who is #1 in men's below-the-belt grooming. Can we get some music, Foxy? Thank you. Can we turn it down a little bit? Bingo. It was a little loud.
No, it was. I mean, people got to be able to hear the words, you know.
Got to be able to hear the words to this.
It's an ad. I mean,
I like this song.
no, yeah, it's a good one.
But I don't want to compete with this guy.
No.
When I'm telling you about something that can change the way you shave your balls. Need a whole lot of razor so I can shave my balls. Newsflash, now you can manscape without fear thanks to Manscaped, who is #1 in men's below-the-belt grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools. Can you turn this music off, actually? We should probably have music without lyrics when we're reading ads.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea.
That's not on Foxy's fault. That's not anybody else. There's just like 7 departments we got to go through to get this. Here we go.
That works.
Newsflash, now you can manscape without fear thanks to Manscaped, who is #1 in men's below-the-belt grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. You will feel fearless and fresh with Manscaped line of products, starting with the Lawnmower 2.0 with proprietary skin-safe technology. This trimmer won't nick or snag your nuts. Plus, the Crop Preserver, an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer. I mean, why wouldn't you put deodorant on the smelliest part of your body? It's time to man up and stop using the same trimmer on your face as you do on your balls. That's disgusting. Thanks to Manscaped, manscaping accidents are finally a thing of the past. Feel fearless, feel fresh, and feel fine when you use the right tools for the job this time. Your balls will thank you, and so will your wallet. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code AMERICA at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com, and use the code AMERICA. Shout out to them. Shout out to Levar Hansen, who's coming on 1040. And shout out to, I think, Diggs, who's calling in here anytime to talk about the only undefeated quarterback in the NFL. The only undrafted quarterback to go 3-0. Ducky Hodges and the Steelers get a big win in Arizona yesterday to continue to climb for that wild card, which is highly contentious, especially with the Titans potentially taking on the Texans. Colts lose to Jameis. What are we doing? We'll be back on the other side. You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show.
Ten years ago, I had an undiagnosed heart condition, and erectile dysfunction was actually the first sign that something was wrong.
Luckily, I'm a doctor, an expert in sexual health, and Zach's dad.
Not everyone has a doctor in the house, and some health conditions can be really tough to talk about. We started Roman to change that.
Now you can go online and chat with a physician.
And if treatment is right for you, we'll ship genuine medication right to your door. If you're experiencing ED, hair loss, cold sores, or other issues, let's take care of it.
and I'll stay with you forever all the time. And I'm stepping out to leave it all behind. I'm confident your love will be my sight. Just one looking at you, open up my eyes. And I'll stay with you forever all the time. And I'm stepping out to leave it all behind. I'm confident your love will be my sight. Hold out your hand, yeah. Every day you're with me when I think I can't stand, You got
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Live from 4 World Trade. It's great to be here. I mean, it's raining like a son bitch. I got drenched on my walk from Get Up over here. 7 blocks. Almost lost my vision twice with the umbrella wars that happened on the sidewalks. There's a big time battle happening on these streets whenever it rains, and I don't think I respected it enough. I mean, I almost got a couple metal rods to the eyeball, and they did not care. There was this little lady, I think she was walking into the financial district, and she was just swinging that thing around as if she was in the Game of Thrones with a damn sword.
Do you respect those umbrellas that just cover your whole head?
Yeah, the bubble
do you like
umbrella.
those?
Yeah, because that's a protection from other people's umbrellas as well.
Oh,
and
yeah.
yours is pointing down. I mean, I literally I had a poncho on. I had a poncho on, first time I've ever worn it. I looked ridiculous, but I mean, I almost took 3 umbrellas right to the face, and this little old lady was just, I mean, it was insane. You got to keep your head on a swivel out here when you're walking.
Wind gets blowing, people can't control it.
Oh.
and
I saw like 4 beta boys losing their umbrella
I
out
bet.
there. They're probably sharing fake money. Well, joining us now is a man who's a diehard Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I don't know why he didn't call in last week. I told him he should have. This week he sent me a text and said, I would like to chit-chat about our guy, Ducky Hodges. Ladies and gentlemen, at Tone Diggs. Diggs, how'd you feel about what happened yesterday with the Ducky Hodges going into the desert, getting a win that nobody thought they could get?
I mean, listen. Yesterday I felt incredible. There's nothing better. The Steelers are 8-5. The no Juju, the no Connor, the no Ben Roethlisberger. Steelers are 8-5. The team that everyone wanted to trade Mike Tomlin to the Washington Redskins are 8-5. 13 straight year, no losing seasons. The organization hasn't had a losing season since 2003. The only undrafted quarterback ever to start a season or whatever his career, 3-0.
Wow.
I was feeling great. I woke up this morning, though, still feeling great. Threw on my Steelers chain, Victory Monday, came in the office, grabbed some coffee. Tim made some great beef jerky. Sorry, deer jerky. It was incredible.
Respect.
I go on to NFL.com to place my Pro Bowl vote for the only undefeated quarterback in the NFL. He's not even on the list.
Come on.
Come on.
Ducky Hodges.
Can't even vote for him for the Pro Bowl?
The NFL is afraid of Duck taking over the league.
Wow. Breaking news. The NFL is scared of a bird. The NFL is scared of an icon. The NFL is scared that this Pro Bowl could potentially become the Duck Bowl, and they don't even have him as on the ballot, Diggs?
Can't even vote for him. Listen, as we saw last night, Tom Brady's done. So you need your next iconic quarterback. This is the guy. You send him directly to the top of the Pro Bowl voting. You make sure he gets in because you need a new face of the league. And let me tell you, it's Duck Hodges.
What about Lamar Jackson?
Who?
Lamar Jackson. He's in the AFC North, actually. Duck and Lamar potentially run into each other.
What did he have? 95 passing yards yesterday?
Are the Steelers, do they have any chance to get that wild card, Diggs?
Yeah, actually, yeah. I mean, aside from Duck, the defense, the Steelers' defense, since Mika came over, first in takeaways, first in quarterback hits, first in passes defended, first in forced fumbles, second interceptions, first in sacks. Defense number 1. We play the Bills the Bills at home, prime time. Steelers always do well in prime time. Then the lowly Jets, that should be a W. And then the Ravens, hopefully, don't have something to play for week 17. Hopefully get a W there. But then the Titans, Tannehill's incredible, but they have the Texans twice in New Orleans. So good luck with that.
So you think Steelers are potentially 11-5 if Lamar Jackson, the guy who you said you're not scared of at all in the future, decides not to play? You think Steelers are sitting at 11-5? Them and the Buffalo Bills pick up the 2 wild card spots?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And then, I'm not afraid. Also, the last time Lamar Jackson played a defense, the Pittsburgh Steelers, he threw 3 interceptions. So, I mean, he's been playing all these cupcakes week in, week out. He's just not an impressive.
All right. Hey, Diggs, I appreciate it. I'm happy you're feeling good, too, by the way. Let's try to get to that Sunday night game, huh?
Oh, wait, seriously?
I think we should think about it.
I'm in.
What if we all went except for you?
Well, I currently have a flight back from D.C. I could change it to Pittsburgh. Not a big deal.
All right, Diggs, I appreciate you. Congrats to your Steelers, by the way.
See ya.
See ya. That is really, you can't vote for Duck Hodges right now.
It's absurd.
Drew Lock, also an undefeated quarterback, though.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
Drew Lock, who got drafted in the 3rd round or 2nd round, I forget what it was. John Elway might have finally hit on a guy. And now I think the Texans could have potentially hit a little bit of a lull. Right, you get that big win against the Patriots, and you have the Titans coming up, which is a massive division game for them to potentially continue to carry on into the playoffs. So it might have hit a lull, maybe a little bit of a trap game for the Texans, which you don't expect professional athletes to have because, hey, you're getting paid money, you're the best of the best, you can't have feelings, you can't have emotions. These are just real things that happen, kind of ebbs and flows. It almost felt like that Broncos game was a trap game for them. But Drew Lock, people are saying Joe Flacco, not only was the problem in Baltimore,
Oh, no.
potentially a problem in Denver because they didn't let Drew Lock get out there and get loose. I think Drew was hurt, by the way, so Drew Flacco did not deserve that. He's a guest of the podcast. But it seems like Drew Lock potentially their guy over there. Doesn't he just look exactly like Case Keenum and just happens to play better?
Yeah, he kind of does.
Case Keenum did not work out over there.
I mean, Elway, doesn't really have a great track record of grabbing quarterbacks outside of the year they won the Super Bowl with Peyton. So we'll see. I mean, he's going to pat himself on the back to no end if Drew Lock ends up being the guy.
Von Miller loves Drew Lock. Von Miller posted on his IG that we got I think it was a Rockstar thing because of what the Texans did last week with the Rockstar thing.
Mm-hmm.
Von Miller tweeted about old Drew Lock. This is the same thing that's happened with old Ducky Hodges. When the rest of the team starts propping up the quarterback, that's really good news because everybody normally props up the quarterback, right? Everybody props up the quarterback. You put him up in high regards, and normally the team doesn't do it, right? The team just knows, like, that's our guy. We're behind him, whatever. But as soon as the players start propping up the quarterback, like they did with Lamar Jackson,
Right.
big trust, like Mark Ingram hyping him up, the defense is hyping him up. Whenever you see the rest of the team rallying behind your guy, man, that's a beautiful thing for that locker room. That's that X factor that can't be accounted for. That's the camaraderie, the chemistry that can win games for people without the X and O's. We're talking about the Jimmies and the Joes making things happen for him. That's happening with Ducky Hodges. He's throwing up gang signs with Juju Smith-Schuster in his very expensive car. It's happening with Drew Lock, with Von Miller. It's happening with Lamar Jackson. Deshaun Watson was getting that treatment. That's really cool to see whenever the team is lifting up the quarterback as opposed to the media being the only ones to do it. That means something good's generating inside of that locker room. All right, we got to get to a break because on the other side we have a guy who's he's a physical specimen.
Mm-hmm.
He went to Penn State.
Yep.
I was at a game and I saw him jump over another entire offensive line. Then he went to the Washington Redskins and they stink. Well, and
stink.
Stink, stank, stunk. But he's a stud there, and he's great on a microphone. I can't wait to chat with him. Friend of the show, Levar Hansen on the other side. You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show.
On average, people have to wait 29.3 days to see a doctor. Anyone living with erectile dysfunction, hair loss, or cold sores knows that kind of wait just won't work. That's why there's Roman, the digital health clinic for men. Complete a free online visit, and you'll hear back from a U.S. licensed physician within 24 hours. If medication is right for you, Roman delivers it with free 2-day shipping, always in discreet packaging. Get started today with a free online visit at GetRoman.com/TV. Roman, let's take care of it. Hey guys, if you're experiencing erectile
can't find love, never let me go, never let me go, no, never let me go. Love can never let me go, never let me go. Love, never let me go, never let me go, no, never let me go. Love can never let me go, never let me go from your life. Hold my hand and never let go, never let go. Hold my hand and save your soul, save your soul. Don't let the sun go down, don't let the sun go down, don't let the sun go down on our love. Inside and out, upside and down, head in a maze, heart on the ground, on the ground. I was angry before, but I circled the drain in my mind. I can't find love, never let me go, never let me go, no, never let me go. Love can never let me go, never let me go. Love, never let me go, never let me go, no, never let me go. Love can never let me go, never let me go from your life. Hold my hand and never let go, never let go. Hold my hand and save your soul, save your soul. Don't let the sun go down, don't let the sun go down, don't let the sun go down on our love. Inside and out, upside and down, head in a maze, heart on the ground, on the ground. I was angry before, but I circled the drain in my mind.
Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Being joined now by All-American, All-Pro, All-Mammal, ladies and gentlemen, freak athlete, Levar Hansen.
Yo.
What's up, dude?
Yeah, bro. I think your next life is DJ, man. Move the crowd, bro.
Hey, you know what? I appreciate that. I thought about just getting like an actual DJ to put together an entire set list for me, putting a big box on my head and touring the country. I thought about that a few times.
I mean, let me be your manager, Pat. I mean, I've always said I wanted to be your representation, man. No shame in doing it on your podcast. You know what I mean?
Hey, I want to let you know I might be looking for new representation shortly. So, hey, I will keep you on the burner. Let's talk about representation, though. Dwayne Haskins is now the face of the Washington Redskins. They are living and dying with him. I assume the next coach that they hire is going to have to be one that can work with Dwayne Haskins. They played a Packers team that won ugly, but they look like they were in that game. He could have quit, too, whenever his ankle got rolled up. What are you seeing out of Dwayne Haskins? Do you like what you see? And are the Redskins ever going to be good at football again?
Oh, there was a whole lot of questions in that. I don't know where to start. Dwayne Haskins, I like Dwayne Haskins since college. I think if he has the right guidance and the right leadership, he can be a fine professional quarterback and fine enough to lead a team and lead the Washington Redskins. They have seemed to play better in the last couple weeks. I mean, obviously, since the departure of Gruden, they seem to be trying or playing a little better than what they have been. So I was surprised that they were as competitive as they were against Green Bay. So credit them for continuing to fight along the way. I don't know, will they ever win in Washington? That it doesn't look like they have the structure to be able to win in such a competitive league. It's always one of those things. You don't have to guess if a team can be competitive or not. It's one of those I guess interesting categories where you can say you get to see the results. The market speaks every weekend, and you know who those teams are.
Yeah, the NFC East looks like a big old suckfest, but the NFC as a whole, there's a lot of teams that are very good. I mean, that Saints-49ers game yesterday was awesome, but the NFC, what's that?
It was really good.
Yeah, defense kind of disappeared. Does that happen every once in a while? Like, for instance, last week the Niners take on the Ravens in a heavyweight slugfest. I mean, they stay in Florida. They go over to the Superdome. And both those teams' defenses, I think we both expected a little bit more out of them, but instead it was the offenses, and especially that 49ers offense showed up when nobody thought they could. Should they be worried about the defense just having one bad day, and how happy should they be about the Niners offense showing up and showing out?
Well, that's one of the best to do it, coaching-wise and quarterback-wise, Breeze and Peyton for the New Orleans Saints. So, every once in a while the team has your number. It's a matchup issue. You would say that coming into the game, if Drew Brees and Sean Payton can game plan you, it's going to be a matchup problem just because of the talent that they have and what they're capable of doing. But then you got to look at the 49ers the same exact way. So the fact that it was a scoring fest, I wouldn't look for that to be too often with the type of defense that San Francisco or the New Orleans Saints play.
Okay.
But I just think it was two top teams that were playing really well, and they got into rhythms. And yeah, sometimes it's just going to be shootouts.
That was, the NFC playoff is going to be so much fun to watch. I mean, you look at the Rams all of a sudden playing good football. The Seattle Seahawks get a loss last night, but then the Packers are winning ugly. I don't know if even their fans are that confident. The Vikings are hot. Obviously, the Niners, and the Saints. The NFC looks like it's something to be very much desired aside from the NFC East whenever it comes to playoff football.
I think it's going to be a fun playoff. I thought the New England game, I don't sleep on the AFC. I think that this is going to be one of the most competitive playoffs and Super Bowls that we've seen in recent history. So whoever it is, it's going to be pretty well played to get to the Super Bowl this year, especially in the NFC. So I like the Niners. I really do. I think the Niners are really showing that they have the ability to win the games. I know there's questions surrounding whether Garoppolo or Shanahan can make the calls. Can Garoppolo make the throws, manage the games, make the plays? I really like the way the Niners are playing, and to be able to get that type of a win, I'm looking at them as as the front runner. But like you said, there's so many teams in the NFC that are playing so well that, there's no way of telling who may be the hottest team hitting the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that Niners offense answered a lot of questions yesterday. I mean, granted, the defense didn't show up at the same time because Sean Payton and Drew Brees, but I think, for me, I learned a lot more about that offense and had a lot more respect for that Niners team after what they did yesterday. I think everybody does. Let's pivot real quick to the AFC. You were a freak athlete. I mean, by all accounts, one of the most athletic humans to ever do a professional sport. Lamar Jackson is making people look like amateurs. I don't know if I got a chance to ask you this the last time you were on. How would you defend Lamar Jackson, and is he stoppable other than maybe potentially stopping himself?
It's difficult to figure out how to stop a running quarterback with the awareness that he has. It's like, okay, if he has one good attribute, like he can run really well, you can game plan to stop a quarterback that runs really well. If he can move a little bit and throw the ball, that's a little bit more difficult, all right? But when you have one who brings both to the table, where they can read the field as a true pocket passing quarterback, but can also run away from you as a true running quarterback, I would have to say this is one of those moments in time where if he can continue on the trajectory that he's on, he's one of those revolutionary type of players where you're going to actually have to try to figure out how you can get guys who are fast enough to play the run and fast enough to play the pass, but strong enough to tackle and do. So basically it might become like a nickel and dime league, when you're playing against these type of teams, which may usher back in the running back and their importance, because it's difficult for secondary people to be able to tackle true running backs. So he may change the entire, format of how you try to play defense, because his IQ is high enough and his timing, like that little flick pass that he did for the touchdown today, there's no way, let's game plan for him getting you into a matchup with the tight end and him. And let me flick it at the last second and get it to it's almost, everybody refers to it as he's playing basketball. They're playing basketball on the football field. Kind of hard.
You know what I loved about him, LeVar, and I think you would love him about this too? Him trolling that 49ers color commentator by wearing the white long sleeves with the white gloves, one of my favorite things I've seen on a football field.
I noticed that it was very subtle. I thought it was pretty cool. And there was no answer for him with his white long sleeve shirt on and his white gloves. So seeing was believing, I guess, would be the theme of yesterday's game.
So to you old whites, let's make it clear that if Lamar Jackson was a Caucasian quarterback, he'd still be able to do everything that he's currently doing. That is, I don't know if people need to hear that or see that, but I'm happy one particular color commentator did need to see that, and Lamar proved that. This offense,
a color commentator, huh? The irony, a color commentator, huh?
I don't know how those humans still exist. By the way, they make all whites look bad. By the way, that guy made all whites look bad, and that's just it happens on a regular occasion, and I'm done with it. I'm through with it. All right. Got a couple minutes left here, LeVar. I enjoy speaking to you. I think you do good every time you're on TV on Fox. I want to talk to you about a guy that isn't doing that good right now. Tom Brady, man. I mean, Tom Brady in that Patriots offense. Last night, if it wasn't for Alberto Riveron in the game, I think the Patriots possibly win that game. And last week against the Texans, it was a one-score game still. They've played dreadful on the offensive side of the ball, and they're still in it. Is there any hope that the Patriots are going to do anything this year, or is this it? Is this finally the time that this dynasty comes crashing down?
I don't think so, man. I mean, they're a bad call away from winning the game.
I agree.
The kid doesn't go out of bounds. He gets the touchdown. They call him out of bounds. They can't challenge it. I just think some of these challenge rules and some of these things that take place are ridiculous for the game. I mean, that the New England Patriots have got to be the most maligned, best team that we see in the league right now. I mean, they're number 2 right now to Baltimore?
Yeah.
And we're talking about the dynasty is over, and how and I heard Rodney Harrison and his commentary last night about trick plays and this, that, and the other, and it's a bad sign and this and that. When I watched Tom Brady, I really didn't think he looked horrible, to be honest. I thought he made some really fine throws. I thought that they made some timely plays, and their defense can make plays. I mean, at one moment in time, it was like, okay, here we go with the New England Patriots, and then you're looking at, you got to think about how fine of a team that is that they were playing as well. So that's a potential, AFC championship round game or something to that effect. So to see them basically come up short in a game where it's not hypothetical to say they had that game won. So I don't think it's the end or the conclusion. I think there's definitely some struggling going on there, whether it be from person to person, whether it be the offensive game plan, whether it be a lack of weapons for Tom Brady. But I still look at the New England Patriots as they're still the New England Patriots until somebody proves otherwise.
I agree. They're going to have to go on the road, though, because Baltimore's about to have home field advantage, and Baltimore is not an easy place to play. I don't think that gets talked about a lot.
I wouldn't disagree with you, but in the playoffs, I just have not seen anyone game plan and prepare for the playoffs the way that the New England Patriots have. But with that being said, there's got to be at some point, there's got to be fatigue. I mean, they're there every single year. They have the least amount of rest of any other team in the National Football League. There has to be mental, emotional, physical fatigue at some point with Belichick and Brady and some of these other guys that are on that team.
And that's why I think it seems like they've been immortal, because they've been immune to that for so long. That's why it's so, like, you make the Super Bowl, everybody's like, oh, it's impossible to make it back because of the emotional pressure. They've been doing it for 20 years, this team. And that's why whenever you see them struggle this late into December, everybody's like, oh, is this it? And I can't bet against them. I dread the day where I'm going to have to say, like, I think they're going to lose, because you're going to get buried on the internet because they've been so good for so long, and Belichick can pull it off. But I don't know. They haven't looked great, Levar. Unlike you, every time you're on television on Fox and every time you join us, I can't thank you enough, my brother.
Appreciate you, Pat.
Ladies and gentlemen, all mammal, all American, all pro, all everything, LeVar Arrington. Thank you, LeVar.
All right, bro.
See ya. Oh, God. Why didn't I ask him about Chase Young?
I believe he's still on.
LeVar, are you there?
We just lost. Want to call him back?
No, we only got a minute.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Chase Young is a game changer.
Yeah, big time.
But Wisconsin had him bottled up. Mm-hmm. Wisconsin got a good old line, I think, which might be the key to stopping Ohio State, is you have to have a big, good offensive line. Now, granted, Wisconsin had the lead there at the beginning, and these Ohio State fans, I said, is Cone the next Lamar Jackson? Obviously a joke, but how good he was playing against the Ohio State team. Ohio State fans thought I was being serious. That is why Ohio State dropped a 2, by the way, because they made Jack Cone look potentially like the next Lamar Jackson. So I've been an Ohio State guy this entire year. I was the first one, I think the first and real one to say Ohio State best team ever. They got 3 Heisman candidates. Mm-hmm. But them struggling, I think, is what dropped them to 2. LSU, I saw Joe Burrow live for the first time this past weekend. We'll talk about that on the other side of the break. He's going to make so much money playing football. So much money how good he is. Clemson hasn't played anybody, but they got dudes. All Rex Ryan keeps saying is, just wait for Clemson. They're going to win by 30. He said they don't play anybody. It's not their fault. And in college, it isn't their fault because nobody will schedule them. They got dudes. In Oklahoma, Jalen Hurts is a freak. I'll be excited to see that. Mm-hmm. Plenty more about that and also the NFL Overreaction Monday on the other side. You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show.
Hey guys, if you're experiencing erectile dysfunction, you can now get treated anywhere. Like here, even here. Okay, maybe not there. That's why we built Roman. So it's easy to get ED meds prescribed online, delivered to your door. Just visit GetRoman.com, chat with a U.S. licensed physician, and if treatment is right for you, you'll get genuine medication delivered in discreet packaging. Get started with your free online visit at GetRoman.com/TV.
It's the perfect occasion for me. It's the perfect occasion for mental vacation from the heart of the nation. Not your medication, 2 hours of magic. Let's give it a go. Ladies and gents, it's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show.
Yes, it is, Chase Rice. That man is on tour. He sings country songs, and he's handsome. If he's in your city, go check him out. Speaking of city, we're in the biggest one in America, and it's gloomy and doomy, much like the Patriots offense. I'm sitting alongside a man named Ty Schmidt from Waterloo, Iowa, who happens to be an owner of the Green Bay Packers. We didn't get a chance to talk about them much in the first hour. Green Bay Packers, although they get a win against Dwayne Haskins in the mighty, the fighting Redskins, it seems like there might be some despair in Cheesehead country. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people will say, like, well, you're 10-3. There's really nothing to, be complaining about. But they don't really look like a good football team. Like, I got.
Did they peak too early?
I don't even know if they peaked too early. My biggest problem is every single week they get out, they score on like the first 2 drives or 2 out of the first 3 drives. They're up 14-0, then they get the ball back and they're in a position to really put the cleats on someone's throat and end the game. And LaFleur gets cute every single week.
Hey, enough with the cute stuff, LaFleur.
I mean, like yesterday they were up. Yeah, same deal. They were up 14-0. They had the ball again. At like the 50-yard line, they take a couple sacks. They have to punt. They go in and score there. You're up 21-0, and you have to, and then you make Dwayne Haskins beat you with his arm. Like they
a couple picks are going to come.
Exactly. They should have won that game by like 5 touchdowns. But because they're 10-3, no one really. I mean, it's easy to kind of just brush everything under the rug. This offense is basically the same as last year, if not worse.
Stats wise,
yeah. Last year, 23.5 points per game. This year, 23.8. Next to no difference there.
0.3 points, though.
Yards per play last year, 5.8, 5.5 this year.
Oh, less than 0.3. We got him back.
Yards per attempt last year, 7.2. This year, 7.4.
Whoa.
I mean, yards per carry is down this year, and they have arguably
Aaron Jones.
Yeah, they have arguably one of the best running backs in the league. Yards per drive last year, 33.2. This year, 31.8. So, I mean, and I was ringing this louder than anyone. I thought, yeah, it's all McCarthy's fault. He doesn't know what he's doing, but it's basically the same offense with a new philosophy. And they're winning games, but then you watch that 49ers and Saints game. It's like, well, how the hell are the Packers going to beat either one of these guys? Granted, if they win out, it's not inconceivable to think they could get the 1 seed in the NFC.
Yep.
They could do it. If they get that first round bye and they get to play a couple of games in Lambeau, they might win a few, but it's just, I feel like the disparity between the truly elite teams in the NFC and the Packers, it's a very wide gap. Same deal, opportunistic defense. When they're getting turnovers and forcing pressure and getting to the quarterback, they do fine. But when they're not, yesterday, Adrian Peterson gashed him on the run. I mean, Dwayne Haskins had maybe his best game of the year.
Are you scared?
Yeah. I mean,
Aaron Rodgers said last week he's looking at hole 18. He could see hole 18, which I think was a motivator, trying to motivate his troops. Like, hey, we need to play a little bit better. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be around or how many times this type of opportunity is going to get. They're 10-3, a lot different than last year, but it sounds like you guys know that reality is potentially as soon as you get in the playoffs, you're going to run into a buzzsaw in that NFC.
Exactly, and it's the same thing. I've always said this. Like, when you're a fan of like the Packers or the Patriots or the Steelers or something like that, like, I don't give a rat's ass about them winning the division. Who cares? Like, it's about winning Super Bowls. Like, if you hang your hat on that, then you're going to be miserable your entire life. It's just like, and like you said, Rodgers knows he doesn't have, like, there's a good chance they won't be in this position again for the rest of his career. They might not be. I mean, the Vikings are...
You hate LaFleur?
I don't hate him. How could you hate him? But I do think it's one of those things like you come from like the McVay coaching tree, and I think those guys just think they're smarter than everyone, and they think they can out game plan everyone no matter what. It's like, oh, if someone throws some adjustments at us, it doesn't matter. I'll be able to work something out on the fly, and he's proven time and time again this year that isn't the case. Like, they are piss poor in the second half, almost in every game this year. They get up big, and then they let teams claw, and then they basically just play not to lose for the remainder of the game.
Just hang on for their dear life. You know, prevent defense prevents the other team from scoring, supposed to. It can also prevent you from winning. And also, a cardiac team is a tough team to cheer for, and it seems like that's what the Packers are right now. Every game seems like it's getting close. There was a couple blowouts there at Dallas Cowboys game, but since Devontae Adams has gotten back, it feels as if every game's close. And it doesn't matter how much you win by in the playoffs, it's just that you win. But right now, that NFC looks like it's going to be a tough place to go. That Saints team yesterday against that Niners defense that has been heralded as this historic defense, now, granted, they might have had a bad day. They were able to move the ball. Michael Thomas is still getting the ball so often on such a regular basis when teams are game planning for him. The way Sean Payton can create players and stars is impressive. Last year was Kamara. Kamara this year is getting booed out of New Orleans, by the way. If you check Twitter in New Orleans is not for Kamara. They love Latavius Murray, who's been brought into the light. But look back, Jimmy Graham was created because of Sean Payton.
Yeah.
Like, you go back through, Sean Payton creates stars. This year, Michael Thomas is that guy. Now, Grant, I'm not saying that Michael Thomas doesn't have any talent, but the way Sean Payton and Drew Brees can draw up plays and make things happen, it really exploits defenses. And that Niners defense got exploited yesterday. I assume they'll learn from it and bounce back from it. But Jimmy G and that Niners offense, which I thought, and I had said, and I think a lot of people said had been the weak point of that team.
Oh, yeah.
Showed a lot yesterday. In a very, very rompous. Now, granted, there was a lot of Niners fans there. It came out earlier in the week that the Niners fans said, we're not scared to play down there. Our fans show up everywhere. And the Saints kind of took that personally. They're like, wait, you think you're going to show up? There was a parade down Bourbon Street of Niners fans saying, who that? We that. Who that? We that. I mean, the Niners fans travel, so in the playoffs, they're going to have a lot of people everywhere, and they could potentially have home field advantage up there in Santa Clara. But that win with that offensive side of the ball with George Kittle, who's an absolute savage. That dude, Iowa Hawkeye, go Hawks. You got to feel good about that, Ty Schmidt. He is an absolute savage. That fourth down play where the guy was trying to rip his face off, and he just powered through to pick up another 17 yards to put Robbie Gould, who's welcome back, by the way, Robbie Gould. He missed like a 50-yard or 20-yard short last week. Now he's banging home game winners from 30. He looks good. With Robbie Gould and everything they got going on with that defense, who's probably not going to perform like they did yesterday, that Niners team, you got to be back on board with. I mean, I like the Seahawks a lot. I mean, I hammered them last night on FanDuel. I thought that was a joke of a line.
We all did.
I thought it was a joke of a spread. The Seahawks were getting a point playing against this loser Rams team with Jared Goff at quarterback, and then bang, Goff threw a couple picks, but he's back. That offense seems to be back. They're getting Todd Gurley the ball. The Rams might be too little too late, but that NFC as a whole, even with the Vikings, that NFC as a whole, aside from the NFC East, which is just a garbage can, a dumpster fire, a trash bag, that NFC as a whole is going to be very, very, very stout going into the playoffs, and I'm excited to watch it. Aaron Rodgers is on your team, you always have a chance.
Right.
But, man, everybody else has got good guys, too.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback, most talented quarterback to ever play the game. I think everybody agrees with that. So you always have a chance with him on the field. Even if you're down, the guy can throw it into a bucket from a mile away. But Drew Brees is in there. Drew Brees is a heck of a player. I mean, then you got Jimmy G learning how to play, which Kyle Shanahan drawing up incredible. They had a fullback pitch a ball yesterday. A fullback was pitching a ball yesterday. Emmanuel Sanders was throwing a touchdown. I mean, with the creativity and with George Kittle as an option at any given moment, that team's going to play well. Now you got the Rams surging. They're going to have to win a lot. The NFC is very, very talented. And if you just cough or burp, you can get left behind. And I think that playoffs, we're going to see some games where we're like, damn, we thought that team was a lot better than they were. Whammy, buzzsaw happens. And it's going to happen in the NFC. Could potentially happen in the AFC as well. I think the AFC kind of has figured itself out a little bit more than the NFC. But that NFC, the top of the class is so good, so good. And that Niners Saints game yesterday was worth every minute I spent watching that thing. Very, very gone on vitamins.
We've said it basically every week this year, but I think outside of Lamar Jackson, George Kittle's the best player in football. His best is always better than whatever guy is going against him's best.
And he's hilarious.
Right. The Niners average 6.2 yards per play when he's on the field, 5 yards when he's not, and obviously that doesn't seem like that jarring, but when you got a guy who's on the field basically the entire game, they miss him when he's not on the field. Not only with blocking, Raheem Mostert, who basically came out of nowhere, he's an incredible running back. even losing, to Seattle, they're putting it together at the right time. I'm not so sure they're not the best team in football.
By the way, without George Kittle, it's first and 14.8. This without him, if you do the quick math.
There we
He's
go.
Worth 1.2 per. You put 4, that's first and 14.8. That's a penalty to start.
There we go.
That is a lot of yards. 1.2 yards might not seem like a lot, but whenever you start stacking them up, you're like, oh, that does feel like a lot. And whenever he gets the ball, I feel like at any given moment he can go to the house. And he's big. He's a lumbering guy. He's like Gronk. But he seems to be a better blocker than Gronk. That's why whenever, Doug Gottlieb comes out and says, well, he's a flashy guy, he can't block. It's like, what?
Moron.
This guy might be the best blocking tight end that has played the game. Not just now. He is bodying people. Now, Gronk was a good blocker, too. Never got his credit in the blocking game because of how good he was. He was a nimble Clydesdale out there, a ninja like Clydesdale whenever he got the ball because how big he was. But what Kittle does is he has good leverage. He bodies people, and I think he takes a lot of pride in it.
That's all he did at Iowa.
And he has a great personality.
Yeah.
He's a guy that I think he's going to be on 45 commercials this upcoming offseason. It's going to become something where he's going to be everywhere, as he should. He's earned it.
Right.
But that Niners team, Kyle Shanahan knows he's got something special. Get Emmanuel Sanders in there, maybe get him loose a little bit. Jimmy G starts making the right decision. And in that run game with that fullback, you can really start doing things. That Niners team showed a lot yesterday. The defense didn't show up in a way which I thought they could because one of the offensive linemen was out for the Saints. But that offense showed a big promise yesterday. If they can continue to go, look for the Niners. But in the NFC, it's a big old coin toss.
Well, and in the West, too, they still have to play the Rams, and they still have to go to Seattle. So, I mean, it's going to come down to Week 17 to see who wins that division, I'd assume.
And in the AFC, you'd assume the Bills got one locked up, even though they lost yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
You assume they have the first wild card spot. And now that second wild card spot, the Titans, the Texans, the Steelers, Colts are out because he loses to Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
Put up 35 points, too. Jacoby had a hell of a game. Hit 2 picks. It seemed like it had good defense, too. But then you just look at the scoreboard. He put up 38 points against them. How the Colts lose that game?
That's got to be frustrating.
Oh, my God.
When you got a guy like Jameis who it's like, all right, this guy stinks. He's just going to keep throwing picks. And then they're just like, oh, they're just going to keep airing it out. They're going to keep cutting.
Bruce Arians, no risk it, no biscuit. You threw 2 picks. Who cares? Who cares? Let's go right back to it. They get a big one. Knock the Colts basically out of it. Mm-hmm. Out of all contention, which is frustrating because at the beginning of the season, they looked so good. They were able to run the ball so well. They were able to protect so well. The defense was playing well. And then they just let games get away from them.
I was going to say, what happened?
They just let games get away from them, right?
Because it's not like they were getting blown out. It's not like they were getting outclassed.
5 games, 1-score games.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things where, who knows, next year maybe they go 11-5, doing the same thing.
The difference between good and great is winning those close games.
Yep.
I mean, that's the difference between good and great. That year I talked about it. The year we won 2-14, I think 8 games were 1-score games. So that could have been a 10-6 year for us.
Right.
And we were god-awful. But that's the difference between good and great teams, being able to win out at the end. The Colts haven't been able to do it this year. Hopefully next year they'll be able to do so. But they're out of the picture, basically. Titans, Texans, Steelers are vying for that 6th seed, the second wild card. Mm-hmm. And with Ducky Hodges and that Steelers defense, Diggs joined us in the first hour from Indianapolis, a diehard Steelers fan. He rattled off a bunch of stats about this Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Since Minkah Fitzpatrick was traded out of the Dolphins and came to the Steelers, they're like number 1 in turnovers, number 1 in yards, number 1 in this, number 1 in this. That defense, if we're going to talk about defenses winning games for teams, the Steelers, now that you have an elite quarterback like Duck Hodges, I mean, that's a team that can sneak into the playoffs and get dirty. In the Titans, this team, normally whenever you replace a quarterback that has been your franchise quarterback, normally there's a little bit of little chatter like, I shouldn't have done it. I don't think I've heard a single person in Nashville, I don't think I've heard a single person in the NFL world not give absolute praise to a man that has earned it and deserved it, which is Ryan Tannehill. He gets out from underneath Adam Gase in Miami, and he is flourishing. Not only because he's an athlete, he had a spear of a tackle yesterday after throwing a pick, which I assume you don't want to do as a quarterback is throw picks or tackles, but he does great things in the red zone. They're number 1 in the league in the red zone since he's been there. Number 7 on third downs. They got the Texans twice in the last 3 games. The Texans are like 31 in the NFL in red zones and like last in third downs. So it's setting up as if the Titans are going to beat the Texans a couple of times because Derrick Henry, who's 6'12", 400 pounds, and runs a 4.5, is running on a contract here. He's number 3 in the league right now. They pound it with him. Tannehill's been able to drop it in the bucket. Vrabel's tough defense has been doing well. Suckup is getting back into it. I don't know if he's 100% yet. Maybe in the next couple of weeks. Well, Brett Kern's a good punter. That Titans team slowly and quietly has become a monster and a very hot team. They're going to potentially win the AFC South, and if they win the AFC South, now the Texans are in for the wild card. So it's either Titans or Texans, Steelers, Bills, and I think that's it.
Yeah. I think the Titans encapsulate, too, when you talk about teams that, like, have that locker room chemistry where, they just look like they're having a lot of fun. Like, those guys really enjoy playing with each other. They enjoy
Vrabel's,
being
like,
around
pushing
each other.
guys.
Right.
And I think Taylor Lewan, by the way, has been a good addition coming back. Now, he was suspended the first 4 games. He comes back in there. He said, I had a couple bad games. He had to get back into it. But that offensive line is dominant. I think anybody who's ever heard Taylor speak knows that he's probably a good influence in the locker room. I think Vrabel encourages that type of stuff. Derrick Henry's a guy that gets no credit from anybody ever, and all he does is just put his big-ass head down and run. I mean, they are a team that's very hot. And Rex Ryan said it on Get Up this morning, and I think everybody agrees with this. If you can run the ball and stop the run, in the playoffs, that travels. It doesn't matter where you're playing. If your offensive line can move humans and you have a back that can move the ball and your defense can be stout, you can win anywhere against anybody on any day. If the Titans get in, especially with how hot they are, I think the only question is, can Tannehill show up in a big game?
Right.
And I would argue he has been.
Yeah.
These have all been playoff games for the Titans. Any loss here in the last couple of weeks, they would have been out of it. I think Tannehill is a whole new person. It's a rebirth. They're going to have to pay him. Titans are going to have to pay Ryan Tannehill. I don't think it'll be a crazy asking price. He'll get a good price. And I think they're almost locked in for the quarterback for at least the next couple of years with Ryan Tannehill. Good for him. Good for them. Bad for the Texans that ran into a buzzsaw on Drew Lock yesterday. I think that was an emotional trap game for the Texans. I think you get that big win against the Patriots. You can kind of overlook it, especially with the Titans around the corner. Drew Lock, these Broncos stink. They got steamrolled. At one point, they scored a touchdown, looked like things were going good. They were down 21 at that point. It was like, damn, it's still a 3-score game. So that thing got out of control quick, and I don't think the Texans could catch up, but it's still all in front of them if they can beat the Titans. And whenever I look at that Titans and Texans matchup, you have to like the Titans. You just have to. Whenever you look at the analytics and the stats of the whole thing, it seems as if the Titans are a team that is trending north, and the Texans are potentially a team that's just going to have to get in the way of them. And the Titans are coming out of nowhere. Colts were to talk about the AFC South at the beginning. Then the Texans, this is the Texans division. Nobody even talked about the Titans. Bang, they make quarterback change. Whammy. The Titans, who I bashed.
Oh, yeah.
No, I was forced to.
With good reason.
I was forced to do it. They could be a team that gets into the playoffs and does some real damage. Good for them, by the way. They've always been this close. They've always been the team that loses the close games. They've always been the team that had a lot of promise and never delivered. They've always been the team that was fun to go watch the games and play games down in Nashville. They've always been that team. Now they really got a team, and that's good for them.
I mean, obviously it's a lot of things, but I think if you stick with Mariota the whole year, they're not in this position. I mean, it's Tannehill.
Have you seen Mariota on TV one time?
No, I'm not even so sure he lives in Nashville anymore.
Is he gone?
He might be.
Did Marcus Mariota disappear? Search party, Marcus Mariota.
Yellow alert or whatever it's called. Amber alert.
I'm searching right now.
He has to. I don't know how he feels about it.
He seems like such a humble guy, but
he does. And by the way, Hawaii is a place where it's like,
I'll just go home. I'll go back to Hawaii.
Shaka, just keep it moving. I'd go back to Hawaii too. Not that Nashville isn't a beautiful place.
Right.
Nashville's a good town.
No beaches.
Nash Vegas, what they call it.
Mm-hmm.
No shakas, no beaches. You're not out in the middle of nowhere with just your thoughts. I love Hawaii.
The Rock doesn't live there.
Swell! The best deal I've ever heard in my entire life is back. This deal that I'm about to read is a company saying, we want to give away our company. It happens every single year, and every time I read it, I say, this company isn't going to make it to next year. So let's take advantage of this now. And let's bury Omaha Steaks. Give the holiday gift that families across America have loved for over 100 years. Omaha Steaks is America's original butcher, bringing families together since 1917.
Wow.
You can order with complete confidence with Omaha Steaks because they've been around so long. And right now, Omaha Steaks is sharing an amazing limited-time offer with listeners of this show, and there's still time to place your order for the holidays. Yes, you, person that puts everything off until the last minute, you can still get an order in for the holidays now. Just go to omahasteaks.com and enter the code America in the search bar to receive the favorite gift package, the gift everyone will love. I'm going to tell you what comes with this. 4 6-ounce bacon wrap filet mignons, 4 premium pork chops, 4 Omaha steak burgers, 4 potatoes au gratin, 4 caramel apple tartlets, and an Omaha steak signature seasoning packet, plus a free 6-piece cutlery set and a cutting board. All of this for how much, Ty? You think like $200, $300?
I was going to say like $1,499.
The answer is $69.99. All this delicious food plus the free cutlery set they'll enjoy for years to come for only $69.99. Omaha steaks are the most tender, the most flavorful, and you can only get steaks of this quality from Omaha Steaks, America's original butcher. Again, order now and you can get the favorite gift holiday package plus the free 6-piece cutlery set and cutting board for only $69.99. Just go to omahasteaks.com and type America in the search bar. Don't wait. If you want to take advantage of this offer and get your gift before the holidays are over, go to omahasteaks.com, type America in the search bar, and order the gift everyone will love. Order the favorite gift package today. Buy a couple, store them for down the road, put them in the freezer, give them to anybody you know. This is so much for so little. We have to take advantage of a company that's been around for a long time doing dumb things. This deal is insane. They're giving away the company. 1-833-622-3331. We'll hit some phones on the other side. It's 11:20 Eastern, 8:20 Pacific, 10:20 Central. You're listening to The Pat McAfee Show.
10 years ago, I had an undiagnosed heart condition, and erectile dysfunction was actually the first sign that something was wrong.
Luckily, I'm a doctor, an expert in sexual health, and Zach's dad.
Not everyone has a doctor in the house, and some health conditions can be really tough to talk about. We started Roman to change that.
Now you can go online and chat with a physician.
And if treatment is right for you, we'll ship genuine medication right to your door. If you're experiencing ED, hair loss, cold sores, or other issues, let's take care of it.
Now you're here again, knocking at my door. A little too late for, I'm sorry for. The lights went out 'cause you kept cutting the cord, and I started to fade into your gray. See, I finally opened up my eyes, and I saw me coming back to life.
On this day in 1965, a Charlie Brown Christmas premiered.
Incredible.
Sally McAfee loves that.
I watched it the other night.
How was it? Still hold up?
Oh, yeah. Just as good every time.
You know, a lot of those movies don't hold up.
Very true.
A lot of those movies don't hold up. You go check back old comedy specials, by the way. Not a single word of those could be said nowadays in 2019. We're living in a very new world. Let's chat about the college football playoff, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
I think they get it right with LSU at number 1. Now, I would like it to be known that I had never been to an SEC game before in my life. Foxy and I... There we go. Foxy and I got a chance to go to the SEC championship game this past weekend. And it was something unlike anything I've ever been to in my entire life. I played at West Virginia during a great era. We won a lot of games. We celebrated a lot. We beat Georgia in Atlanta in the Georgia Dome against the Georgia Bulldogs and their fans. A lot of the same people that we were sitting with on Saturday in a suite in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. First of all, that stadium is beautiful.
Awesome.
Looked incredible.
Foxy, that thing is beautiful.
Best stadium I've ever been to.
I agree. I absolutely agree. There's TVs everywhere. It's really wide open, so it's like almost comfortable to walk around. We didn't buy anything, but I've heard the prices are pretty affordable.
They're supposed to be incredible.
Yeah, it's very. They spent $43 million on a bridge to get to the stadium. I mean, it was very well constructed. Now, granted, there's some people in jail for that, because I guess they were only supposed to be $6 million or something like that. And they had $43 million, so there's some fraudulent things going on. But it is beautiful. Okay? And I'd never been to an SEC game before, and I've heard all the chatter. You know, everybody hears ESPN talk about the SEC all the time. You hear about people talk about college football all the time in the SEC. SEC, it just means more. I'm like, what does that even mean? Like, what are you talking about? It means more. I mean, I got 27 death threats from Mississippi. You don't think it meant a lot to the people up there that are going to kill me in West Virginia? And then we went to that game? Hey, it just means more down there.
It 100% means more.
It just means more. I had never been it was a cult. We were in the middle of a cult, and it was the Georgia Bulldog cult that we were in the middle. Hey, you're talking about grown men and grown women barking rabid when something good would happen. It was 50,000, 60,000 adults barking. Very accomplished adults, all in unison, sounding like actual bulldogs, living and dying with every single snap, knowing that the Georgia Bulldogs were probably going to lose to LSU because this team, with that quarterback, looks unbelievable. They got dudes, by the way, and that defense gave up 614 to Ole Miss, and it's the reason why people were knocking LSU, including myself. Watching those athletes on the field and watching this Georgia fan base just get demoralized by this LSU team, it was something like I've never seen before. I don't think I've ever been around like a diehard fan like this. Mm-hmm. My dad used to throw things at the TV, obviously, when the Steelers wouldn't perform well. But that was just his anger whenever Cordell Stewart and Kyler would make a bad decision. When we were in that stadium amongst them, I had never seen anything like it. It is a religion down there.
Oh, yeah.
And I saw a lot of heartbroken people. And by the end of that game, that place was empty because it was 85% Georgia Bulldog fans, 15% LSU fans. And the LSU fans obviously having the time of their life. But watching these humans all bark in unison, accomplished adults. We're talking like 60-year-old men and women that are very accomplished. We're talking young people. They are all in. So I very much understand that even though the biggest stadium's in the Big Ten, and a lot of people think the best team right now is in the Big Ten, the Ohio State, although there's a lot of conversation about Clemson, who hasn't got to play anybody. Not their fault. Scheduling in college football is interesting. I understand that maybe the best teams aren't in the SEC, and the biggest stadium is not in the SEC. I have never seen anything like that. I mean, it is a religion down there. It's like something to be honest, you have to experience to believe
100%.
it. Foxy, I did not know what we were getting into. Zito was there as well. I did not know what we were getting into. I'm almost like impressed with the amount of dedication that these people have to these schools. They love the Georgia Bulldogs, and whenever that thing started going the opposite direction, they didn't lose a single spunk in their barks until the very end, and I have a lot of faith. But whenever they say the SEC, it just means more, they are not lying. I mean, I have never seen anything like that
You
before.
are spot on. I'm a Big Ten guy through and through. I've been to a lot of games, Big Ten championships, all that stuff. And the SEC 100% hits differently.
Listen, it really does. Because student sections, I've seen student sections lose their mind all over the place. I love student sections. Like, I'm a big fan of people losing their minds for their teams. I like fans. I like rompous atmospheres. But when you just see this wave and see these people are telling me, hey, this is the biggest day of our life. The SEC championship, yeah, the college football playoff is really good, but there's people that the SEC championship means more than anything else.
They called it the Super Bowl.
It's the Super Bowl. This is the SEC. It just means more. To win the SEC, man, this is everything. It's like, no, the college football playoff is still happening. They're like, not down here, pal. Yeah. The SEC is a big deal. And I don't know if Joe Burrow didn't know that because he's coming from the Big Ten. We were in that stadium like an hour and a half before the game starts, 2 hours. It was the first time I got to sit down. I mean, I stood around for like 2 hours and 45 minutes at game day doing nothing. But then when we got to the stadium, got a chance to go into the tailgates, by the way, walk through them a little bit. Shout out to the Blue Lot. And everybody that stopped me and said hello, I very much appreciate
Atlanta
you.
loves McAfee.
It does. Atlanta's a very pro our show
Big
town.
time.
I'm very thankful for everybody in Atlanta shouting. Thankful for you. But to get to the tailgate, you see the rabid fan base. And then when we get into the stadium a little bit early, we walked, 8.2 miles?
Yep.
8.2 miles.
Yeah, that's what my watch said.
I was winded. I was sweating. I had to get a hoodie and cut the sleeves off. I was sweating all over the place. But we get in there, and there's people on the field kind of messing around. Then the players started trickling out for the pre-warm-up, which is a beautiful time to be on the field. This is where Quentin Nelson gets hit in the head with the ball by Bradley Pinion. There's a situation. It's kind of like the players last time to kind of do your own thing, kind of get the nerves out a little bit before the warm-up, before people really get in the stadium. And I've never been a fan at that time. I always would go out and kick balls. I said on Twitter where that Quentin Nelson situation with Bradley Pinion, I almost murdered Tim Tebow from like 80 yards away whenever we were playing the Jets. I got a hold of one that just kept going. And I'm telling you, it was like 5-6 inches from Tim Tebow's head. And I thought I was going straight to hell. As that ball was in the air, I was like, oh, no. And it lands right by his head, whistles past him. And he looks up, and I have both hands up in the air, and I give like a, I am so sorry type thing. And he gets back like, oh, no problems, like God bless or whatever he does. Like something very nice. I'm like, oh, my God, I was so scared. Quentin Nelson, Bradley Pinion had a different moment. They shook hands, but it seemed like there was potentially going to be a fight. That pre-warm-up is a beautiful time to be on the field. No pads on. You just kind of got shirts on. You got shorts on. You're just kind of like feeling yourself. They had a close-up on this Joe Burrow guy's face on all the TVs in the stadium. I've never seen somebody more calm, cool, and collected. Like, normally that's a thought where guys have their music on and they're like bobbing and they're like in their own zone. He just didn't even know where he was, it felt like. This guy, nothing was too big for him. And I don't know if he didn't understand how massive the SEC championship is because he's coming from the Big Ten, which I don't think I understood how big it was until I was there. I mean, it is insanity down there. It's a cult. Mm-hmm. You just got cults taking on other cults.
Yep.
And they're very passionate. When I saw very accomplished humans just barking, I was like, man, this is wild.
Different world.
But Joe was so calm, so cool, so collected. And the plays he was making on the field, both with his feet and his arm and his brain. In the story that Coach O told about how his phone broke last week, and we won't give him Luco new phone. He said, I don't want a phone. I want to focus on football. That, for me, I was like, oh, this guy loves football. He's from Ohio, so he has grit in him. I mean, that's just something that comes naturally from being from Ohio. He's got all the talent in the world, and he loves football. Joe Burrow, everybody was talking about tanking for Tua and stuff like that. I said very early on that I thought this Burrow guy was the guy. Now that I've seen him in person, Joe Burrow is going to make hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars playing quarterback. I honestly believe that, but I think the College Football Playoff Committee got it right. LSU beats 4 top 13 players to end, or top 13 teams to end their season. Not Ohio State's fault, not Clemson's fault that they couldn't do that. This is just how it was and how it went. And I think what LSU did to Georgia there was demoralizing to Georgia. I watched the soul get sucked out of a lot of humans down there. But Ohio State has stumbled a little bit. A couple times against Penn State, they struggled a little bit. They still get a big win. They stumbled a little bit against Wisconsin here early. Now, we mentioned in the first hour that Chase Young, good offense line. I guess he was getting triple teamed, which, by the way, Guess that's a good strategy. Let's assume that the good football teams are going to do that going forward. So you can stop Chase Young and get going. I still believe Ohio State's the most well-rounded team. They got 3 Heisman winners. But if Joe Burrow's on the field, I'm betting on Joe Burrow. I haven't got a chance to see Trevor Lawrence. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence was the same guy last year, national champion as a freshman. But Joe Burrow just hits different. And Clemson hasn't got a chance to play anybody. That's not their fault. I'll be excited to see how they do against Ohio State. That is going to be a electrifying game in Arizona. I think it's a Fiesta Bowl. And then Oklahoma, Jalen Hurts, Lincoln Riley, good brain. Baylor, golly, Baylor was so close to a college football player.
Yeah.
We have footage of me watching the end of that game in overtime where they're using their third-string quarterback and still in it and taking Oklahoma all the way to the wire there in overtime. Baylor, if they sneak in a college football playoff, good for this show, by the way.
Yeah.
Have Matt Rule, that would be great for Sick 'em Bears. By the way, go dogs, sick 'em. That's what they do.
Okay.
That's their kickoff chant.
I like that.
It was insane.
Do
dude.
bulldogs bark?
Yeah, it's all they do. They snore when they breathe. Every breath they
can't
take.
breathe. They can't bark either.
No. Every time they breathe, they snore, and they bark at the littlest things. And it seemed like that's their fan base as well. It's a perfect. Georgia and Bulldogs are a perfect correlation.
Mm-hmm.
I learned a lot about the SEC, and I'm excited for the college football playoff, and I think they actually got it right. I think they got it right. I think everybody will say it. And that Ohio State-Clemson game is going to be one that we want to watch. And I feel bad for Oklahoma. I like the Big 12. I like Baylor. I like Jalen Hurts betting on himself. I like Lincoln Riley, who's probably going to be the head coach of the Cowboys. That is with no inside information. That's just me saying that. I think that Joe Burrow guy is the truth. And if we can get Joe Burrow versus Justin Fields or Joe Burrow versus Trevor Lawrence, that national championship is going to be awesome. And I think they got it right, honestly. In something that is so subjective, I think it worked out for a way that they couldn't get it wrong, and they didn't get it wrong, even though there was a chance that they possibly could.
Yeah, I think it shook out exactly how we thought it was going to. We said last week that LSU winning, I think they were going to jump up no matter what, just because I think the committee values the SEC a little bit more than her. And then on top of that, Ohio State didn't look great. They would have had to win by like 70 to probably retain that number 1 seed. Oklahoma, I mean, same deal. You kind of expected them to be there. I'm surprised that Clemson opened as a favorite against Ohio State. Maybe that's just because Ohio State didn't look great.
Rex Ryan says that they just got different dudes down there. He said everybody that used to go to Florida State's now going to Clemson. Everybody that used to go to these other schools is now going to Clemson. It's not their fault that they didn't play anybody. And North Carolina held them close a long time ago. I think it was in October. But they're a completely different dude. Rex Ryan is very invested in this Clemson team. And he's picking them to win by 30 against teams. And I don't know if that's just fans. Rex Ryan's got a good brain. He says a lot of things where people go, what? And then it ends up being true. He has a lot of faith in this Clemson team. But Justin Fields has 41 touchdowns or something like that and 1 pick. It's like he's incredible. Chase Young's incredible. J.K. Dobbins is good. That Ohio State-Clemson game is going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Well, and I would argue that those same types of dudes that go to Clemson go to Ohio State. I mean, it's like Ohio State doesn't have, mincemeat playing out there. They got guys who could play and start in the SEC. I mean,
and by the way, Utah.
Yikes.
Utah.
I mean, were you wrong?
No. People are coming after me, though. I will pay attention more to them next year.
They're playing in, like, the Idaho Potato Bowl now. You go from, like, on the cusp of being in the playoffs to, like, you have to play it on, like, December 12th.
By the way, shout out to Washington State and Air Force getting a chance to play in the Cheez-It Bowl December 27th, the biggest, best bowl of all time. That should be a lot of fun. A lot of people think I'm commentating it. I am not. I'm on the sideline.
Sitting on top of a Cheez-It box.
Which
correct?
you could join me, by the way. Use the hashtag CheesePickMePatEntry and showcase how much you love Cheez-It with a video or tweet in @Cheez-It. And you could potentially be sitting alongside me in a 2-story Cheez-It box right next to the field and watch Mike Leach and the Washington State Cougars take on American Heroes, the Air Force football team. Should be a blast.
Are you guys right on the sideline?
Yeah, right on the sideline.
Are they selling tickets behind you guys?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because it's like the Booger Mobile.
I was gonna say 2 stories up, you're gonna be obstructing a lot of views if people are sitting behind you.
I didn't even think of that. And I wonder, are we going to be tethered in there?
Well, you probably should be.
Am I wearing a helmet all game? I got questions. All I know is it's going to be a blast. We got free Cheez-Its. There are Cheez-Its paying for the hotel and airfare for somebody. Yeah, to go out there. Use the hashtag CheesePickMePatEntry to enter. And you could be sitting alongside me in a 2-story Cheez-It box or in a Cheez-It bowl. Make them awesome videos and pictures, by the way. Make them awesome.
It's good to know that some businesses, some companies, they still do it right.
They do.
You know?
Ad agencies, not always, but the companies do.
Right.
Shout out to Cheez-It. Do we have another break we got to get to, or are we done with those?
We have another break.
Okay, let's do that, and then let's wrap up hour 2 here with some phone calls. 1-833-622-3331. We'll fire through them. The last 8 minutes of this Overreaction Monday, December 9th, 2019 has been a good one. You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show.
Your father's calling you from the porch.
On average, people have to wait 29.3 days to see a doctor. Anyone living with erectile dysfunction, hair loss, or cold sores knows that kind of wait just won't work. That's why there's Roman, the digital health clinic for men. Complete a free online visit, and you'll hear back from a U.S. licensed physician within 24 hours. If medication is right for you, Roman delivers it with free 2-day shipping, always in discreet packaging. Get started today with a free online visit at GetRoman.com/TV. Roman, let's take care of it.
Like a cage behind the dark eyes, the games unfold. You've won. Take your soul, let it grow without a show. Make the goal and run. When the only weapon is your name. Good intentions hold us back. You should stand
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. It is Bears-Packers week. Should be good to talk about that the next couple of days. Bear Don, huh, Zeke? Bear Don. All right, let's get to the phones. 1-833-622-3331. Early feelers about that Bears-Packers game?
Wouldn't be surprised if the Bears win.
Whoa! Where's that at? In Chicago or Green Bay?
In Green Bay, which is why I'm a little bit less. But I tell you
Real
what,
weather right there for us boys.
Trubisky has been playing pretty well the last couple weeks. That defense still scares me.
MVP Mitch, potentially. Who knows? If the Bears are +5 right now, you calling money line for the Bears, Ty?
Guarantee it. Go ahead.
Personally, I can't do it, but yeah, if
You could see how it could happen.
I could definitely see how that looks nice.
All right, Zito, bear down. Let's get to some phone calls, shall we?
Yes, sir. We have Parker on line 1 here. He thinks Doug Hodges belongs in a different jersey.
Whoa. What are you saying there, Parker?
Easy.
Hey, how's it going, Pat?
Excellent. How are you? Where are you from, by the way?
Okay, so I'm from Virginia. I'm just stationed up here in Massachusetts. My dad's from Denver. I'm a Broncos fan, but with my Steelers out here up in Mass, I got all these Patriots fans around me. And I got to say, I think that the greatest coach of all time pulls the greatest move of all time, breaks the bank, brings Ducky Hodges over, and wins the next 6 Super Bowls to match that 6 on his chest.
Oh,
wow.
You're saying Duck Hodges is going to fly in the V formation from Pittsburgh to Foxborough?
I think that they put that dynasty and rebuild it on the wings of the bird himself.
I can respect that a lot, Parker. Duck Hodges, I don't know if the Yinzers will let him get out of the city at this moment. His birthday is April 12th, which is 4/12. 4/12 is the area code of Pittsburgh. Duck Hodges has brought life back to that team. Mason Rudolph not only hated in Cleveland, I think Pittsburgh hates him as well. Duck Hodges is the only undefeated undrafted QB, 3-0 in the history of the game. It's going to be tough to get him out of there, but if anybody can do it, Belichick can do it, honestly. And Josh McDaniels would be the easiest ever. Now you're working with Tom Brady, can't figure out the offense. You get Duck Hodges in there, Ducks fly together, he can make things happen. Who else is next there, Zeke?
We have, Parker. No, Tanner from Columbia.
Zito,
he wants to thank somebody.
Are you even paying attention back there?
I'm answering calls and trying to put calls into it. It's odd
so you're
one.
juggling back there.
Yeah, I'm juggling a little bit.
Plus, you got the thought of the Bears potentially beating the Packers in Lambeau in your mind. I mean, you are all over the place. Who's this? Tanner?
Tanner from South Carolina.
What's up, Tanner?
Hey, Pat. Hey, Pat, big fan of you and the boys. If Vinatieri's career is over, that stinks. But I want to say a big thank you to him from your fans. If he doesn't send you down to that Holder camp, who knows how your career goes, man? I mean, there might not even be a Pat McAfee show right now. And if he doesn't send you over to College Game Day in his place, we don't get this legendary string of shows that we've had. And by the way, I think they're grooming you to take Corso's place when he retires, which would be amazing.
I don't know.
Is there a permanent spot on him on the show?
I have no idea. I can barely get on the air now. I mean, I sat back there for 2 hours and 45 minutes. It was awesome. It's been awesome to be a part of the show. But I am not an employee of the show. I think the thing about it is that I've been a fan of College Game Day forever. It's an institution. So getting to go on the show is magical. I mean, it is absolutely magical. But to take a spot like that would be, I mean, that's a weight of the world on your shoulders. Lee Corso, Coach Corso is a legend. They've done a lot of great things. But I have no idea what their thoughts are of me on that. For the last 2 weeks, I've sat around for 5.5 hours and 6 hours of show. I mean, there's not a lot of, I think they're trying. I think they appreciate me every once in a while, but they buried me too. I mean, they showed a kick from 12 years ago that almost cost me my life, both from others and myself. And they have yet to say that I was a good kicker or punter. So I don't know if they like me or not. I hope so. I've had some magical moments. I like it a lot. But I'm at the point where I'd be okay without it. I'd be okay not doing it anymore. I'm completely okay. I've enjoyed my time with them. And the people that don't know what that holding camp is, when I was getting drafted coming out, I was a kicker in college and a punter at West Virginia. Played in the Senior Bowl as a kicker. A lot of people thought I was going to get drafted as a kicker. Dallas Cowboys actually told me week of the draft they were going to draft me to be their kicker. Instead, I get drafted to be a punter to the Indianapolis Colts. And like 2 weeks before the draft, Bill Polian and the scouts asked me, have you ever held before? Because I was a kicker in college. And I looked them right in the eyes and I said, oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I practice holding every single day. I knew this could be a potential thing. They're like, thank you so much. And then I got drafted. I forgot about that conversation. And Vinatieri called me to congratulate me. And Vinatieri had known that I was a kicker. So he said, have you ever held before? And I'm like, listen, Adam, I have to shoot you straight here, pal. I have never held a day in my life. And I heard a gasp from Adam Vinatieri, who was at that point already the greatest of all time, who was not going to allow a drunk from West Virginia who lied to Bill Polian's face ruin his career. So he flew me to Carolina to Ken Walter's house, who is his holder in New England. And I went to a holder boot camp for 2 days where I was taught how to hold, how not to ruin Adam Vinatieri's career. And I honestly believe if it wasn't for that and the amount of work that Vinatieri and I put in that training camp, I'd probably get cut because he's much more important to the team than I am. And if you can't hold balls successfully, if you can't caress them and put them in the right spot for the GOAT to come through and do his thing, I'm probably going to get run out of town. So Tanner's 100% right. Big thanks to Adam Vinatieri for not only flying me down there, teaching me that, but also getting me on game day for a run here that I've enjoyed the hell out of. I have no idea if it's going to continue, but I've enjoyed it all. I owe a lot to Adam Vinatieri, and I think the game of football does as well. That's why I like seeing him get on the all-time team. I can't wait to see him get in the Hall of Fame, but I have no idea what he's going to do in the future. Let's get one last call in here, Zito, before we have to wrap up the show.
Yes, sir. We got JC from the National Capital. Capital.
Nailed it. JC, what's up, dude?
Hey, Pat, thank you very much for taking my call. Thank you, Zito, for passing me through. I just want to say, as a Cowboys fan, I have a little bit of obligatory Cowboy talk before we end here. I just got to say I died a little bit inside when I found out you were left on the golf course when we were supposed to draft you. We could really use you right now. It's a travesty. Yeah. The electricity you could have brought to Jerry World and to Dallas and everything, I can't even imagine what would be done. But congratulations to you, Cuzzy, and to the entire PMI team. As a fan of you, I'm proud of everything you've done, and I can't wait to continue seeing you in bigger primetime games because that's just inevitable.
Thank you.
Back to the Cowboys. Yeah, thank you, sir. But back to the Cowboys, it's a real it's a dog in a house on fire. Everything's fine. It's fine. It's fine. We're still in first place. Our coach is on the way out. We still have Super Bowl aspirations, if you can believe it, even though we stink.
Yeah.
But I want to know, as a former player, our for the brand unit has been horrendous. Dallas has just been horrendous. Belichick exposed us in a big way. Big leg Maher can hit 60-yarders as if they're the old school 2-point or from the 2-yard line extra point kicks, but he can't make a 40-yarder to save his life. And he missed some big kicks recently, and he's really, really changed momentum in the game. He's not the reason we lost. Obviously, we got blown out by the Bears and Zito. But he had this to say after the game. He said, "I'll put my head on the pillow tonight feeling good about what I did this week. I feel good."
Okay, well, JC, I appreciate everything you said there about us and the team. Bert Maurer, I think he said he felt good about the balls. I mean, he hit a kickoff out of bounds. You can't do that. I mean, especially if you're a big-legged guy, those balls should be traveling. You got 53 and a third. I kicked the ball off out of bounds, and I couldn't sleep afterwards. So to say that he might be, maybe a little bit out of touch with himself, but maybe he just runs on positive emotions. That one he missed was in, and then it wasn't. I mean, that's just heartbreaking for him. But it doesn't make sense why he can hammer the ball from far and not from short. I had that problem in college a little bit, and for me, it was a focus issue. We talked to Justin Tucker last week. He talked about how you got to focus on focusing. For me, I always thought the shorter ones were a gimme, more of like a layup. So I think I didn't focus as hard as I did on the long ones. Bert Maurer might have a problem in between the years because his leg obviously isn't the issue, but I think there's a lot more problems in Dallas than just that.
Yeah, they're going to cut him after the end of the season probably.
Yeah, they're going to fire Garrett. They're going to cut him. Their punter Jones has been there a long time. I think he's pretty good, but there's a lot of change coming to Dallas. The only two people that are staying from what we've been told, three people, are Jerry Jones, Dak Prescott, and Ezekiel Elliott. Who knows what else is going to happen? Jalen Smith will be there, obviously, and that white guy that howls when he makes tackles.
Vander Esch.
Yeah, that. But obligatory Cowboy talk here at the end. They played on Thursday. Thought we could get out of there. I'm happy we got to chat with that with JC, which I believe is just J.C, not JC like Casey that Zito spelled it.
But, yeah, it is.
Okay.
I asked him.
Okay, that's an interesting name. Anyways, Overreaction Monday, December 9th, 2019 is coming to an end. Big thanks to Levar Hansen for joining us, all our callers. We hope you enjoyed our hot takes. Shout out to Diggs calling in for the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. We'll be back tomorrow from Indianapolis, Indiana. We're getting the hell out of New York City. Have the best day of your entire life. This has been the Pat McAfee Show. We're gone.
Hey guys, if you're experiencing erectile dysfunction, you can now get treatment